good afternoon and welcome to Money Control. I'm Karunya. With me is Manisha Gupta, and today we'll be discussing the energy crisis and its impact on prices world over. First and foremost, I want you to address what's happening with gas because that has seen quite a bit of a slump overnight. What's the trigger there? What is the situation in terms of supply in the US as well as Europe?
So when you look at the month-on-month and the yearly prices and the last 12 months as well, the gas prices are much on the higher side. The US gas is up by 89%, the European gas is up by nearly 400%, and the UK gas nearly up by 700%. But that is on a longer term, and we are looking at gas prices much higher than where they were in last year or in 2019 for that matter. It's only the weekly phenomena that we have seen a decline in gas prices, and overnight it was a 6% fall, as you said, and that is because of the three reasons. One, the US gas production for the month of July has hit an all-time high. That has been one, but that was incoming. The second is that you are looking at the hot temperatures that we've been talking about in Europe, US, etc. They seem to be easing a bit. So the peak of heat temperatures, hot temperatures rather, is off. And the third thing is, when you look at the CFTC data, that tells you that the long positions for natural gas are the lowest since March 2020. So there are people who believe that the higher gas prices are not very sustainable is the reason they're creating those positions. But always there is a word of caution that when a lot of short positions are created, when there is a short covering that comes in, the squeeze is something that will take the prices much on the higher side.
But what we also understand, at least in the near term, there is quite a crunch of gas supply in Europe because of what's happening with the Russia crisis. And how bad is the shortage right now? And like you said, will it ease in the coming few weeks and months?
Well, that does not seem like the case because we started this year in sense with prices of gas at $3.8.
Right.
We saw a high of 9.7. And currently we're trading at 7.7. So we still are on the higher side of the range. And the gas issue with Europe is really bad because 40% of their requirement comes in from Russia, which is now producing 20% of capacity for Nord 1 stream. Russia already has put away nearly 5 countries who are not paying Russia in rubles, whether it's about Netherlands, Bulgaria, Hungary, all of these countries are out, Poland included. And 12 countries in Europe are those which are getting handful of gas. So while even as their target of ensuring that 80% of gas storage is done before the winters are on, we are around 55 to 60% of storage.
And it's projected to be weaker by 80% by peak winter, November, December?
It is. So the demand is going to be on the stronger side, and we do understand that Europe is trying to cut gas wherever they can, and it's not a very nice feeling when you look around on what's happening in sense of raw material, in sense of manufacturing, the factory data, everything that you're watching in sense of Europe is on the weaker side, with bigger concerns coming in that if this is how the condition is, if the gas supplies continue to be slower for them, this is perhaps the first region that will get into recession by end of this year.
Okay, but amid all of this crisis, how are countries like India positioned? I know for a fact, and I'm sure our viewers also know that we've been buying fuel, oil from Russia, but is it the same for gas as well?
So there are various reports suggesting that with the kind of buying that Europe is doing in sense of gas, the supplies for India seems to be declining because Europe is buying on the way a lot of it, and it's not really reaching India. Is the reason, even as the Indian government says that we are going to substitute coal with other renewables, that clearly doesn't seem to be happening right now.
It's time to happen. You can't just suddenly decide and look for an alternative fuel. But are the prices going to escalate for us as well and for consumers as well?
So, everybody that I have been speaking to do not believe that the gas prices are headed much lower from here. Actually, all-time high for the gas has been a $14, and that was in 2005. $14. So we're trading at around 9.7 right now. People do believe that by the end of this year, we are looking at 10, 11. There have been some reports suggesting 12 as well. So is the pain going to go away? Not really. And the 6 to 7% of an upside and a downside in gas is, we've learned to live with that. That is what we see all the time.
But largely, it looks like a tough few months for gas consumers. But let's shift gears from gas to oil because that will be the flavor today. OPEC meet. What's on agenda we've already discussed. But what are you looking forward to as far as the outcome is concerned? And could oil prices be more volatile for the next 24 odd hours?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, you could count on that. You know, what I would not want to look at in the OPEC meeting is if they are going to increase or decrease production, because even as they have been increasing production, they have not been able to keep up with those quotas. So that really isn't going to be of too much consequence. Yes, it will move prices for sure because the markets are looking for any small bit to sign to do that. But what would be important is, are they talking about what US has said? Is Russia going to be continuing to be part of this? Because 9.7 million barrels per day of a cut that they made was a record high, and they are expected to restore much of those cuts by end of this year. Will they be able to do that? How many countries are going to be part of this? The tone of it. I think all of those things are going to be even more important, because that would give you a longer term projection on what kind of demand, supply, OPEC, being part of this are they looking at? Because the 13 OPEC countries and the 10 non-OPEC countries, will the allies still be a formation or not? I think those are the points market will keep a keen eye on.
Okay, so all eyes on gas and oil for the next. In fact, gas is going to be the flavor for the next few months. Oil, definitely the signature of all eyes today, tomorrow, and for the coming days. Let's see how it plays out, what the OPEC meeting outcome will be. I will be picking your brains on that. So, but for now, that's all from us. Thank you for tuning in.